next year, this tree here is dead. So next year we're going to do the same thing, but it's not near as big. And that's my area there, that one day if I get dirt, I can plant a garden. Coming down today, June 3rd, 2022. Doesn't look like much now, but it's been a booger. I started taking it down, started digging it out middle of winter. We had a couple of nice days and I just was on the tractor and I just started digging around the trunk. So then we had this really rainy season and it was real difficult to so it's been so long since I started this project that the mound of dirt has grass on it. Anyway, there's my roots. There's very little holding it up. Most of what you see there has been cut months ago. But every once in a while it'll rain and then there I am. Like that way back there in the back. That's actually, I dug a lot deeper and there's roots that have been cut off even below that. So you can see, gosh, what, 3 feet of roots on this guy? It's not that big of a tree. But I think it's what's holding on is just straight underneath it. So I'm going to put a chain on it, and I don't think it'll take much, and it'll come right on out. Now, I need to give a caveat. This is my 22nd or 23rd tree, and most of the time I'll cut it down conventionally and then dig out the roots. I don't like to have a big old stump because you never know what you're going to want to build. So I like to take them out. Plus it's good exercise, and I would rather do that than lift barbells. Just me, I guess. Seems like a waste of good energy to lift barbells when you could be doing something productive and getting good exercise at the same time. Alright, so I'm going to put a chain on it, and I'll put this camera on a tripod and we will watch it happen. One thing you don't want to do is use a 20-foot chain on a 30-foot tree. So here we go. As long as all my connections stay connected. Couldn't get very high, but again, I don't think it's going to take too much. And there it is. Here we go. Too, doesn't it? There it is. That's fun. Cool. That was easy, but I knew it would be. And there it is. Now we have to limit and bucket and chop it and split it, all that. Cool. Well, there it is. There it is. Hardly anything down there. There was that one way down. That was another 1.5 feet below. I never did see that one. So anyway, a little tree had a lot of root. Anyway, it's all out. Not bad. All right. Well, this is after 2 batteries. Got a little ways to go, but quite a bit of it done. It's going to be reduced to a real small pile. I'll give you an update in a little bit. Okay, the update. After another battery, actually about 3/4 of a battery, the battery wasn't all the way charged, I'm down to this. And if you notice, I left the ones on the bottom because there's weight on those because of that big arch. So those will go last, and the thing will start, it'll fall down, and then we'll just get it from the ground. But a couple of things to keep in mind when you're taking down a tree or limbing a tree with a chainsaw is never outstretch your reach. Always maintain balance, and remember when you take your finger off the trigger, that chain is still spinning. And I know a guy who lost 3 fingers on a table saw after he shut the saw off. So keep that in mind. Also, you want to keep your work area clean. You can see there's a pile. I can zoom in on this. It's really bright out, so I can't really see a whole lot with my screen here. Okay, so keep your work area clean. So before I go to work on those, I'm going to pick those up and put them on my little pile so my work area will be clean. Alright, be back with another update. Well, this is at the end of another battery. It's probably 3/4 of a battery. Been using batteries for other things, so anyway, probably some of you are wanting to know what kind of saw I use. Well, about 3 or 4 years ago, I bought a Snapper 60 volt. They are discontinued. Not trying to sell them, but it's a 16-inch with 60 volt. I've got 4 batteries, and it takes about an hour to charge a battery. Fortunately, I have 4 batteries, so I can have them charging while I'm using them and really never run out of power that way. I have had a problem with this. I had to take it apart where screws came undone on a sprocket or something that way, and I was able to open it up, repair it, and put it back together, and been running perfect ever since. In the interim, I bought a Greenworks. Yeah, 60 volt. Same thing, 16-inch. I think they're probably related companies. You know, they all come out of China. Anyway, I have never used it, so I still have it. But we are running close here. So this battery ought to take us home. If not, well, I have a battery on charge. So all in all, not bad for a day's work. I'll give you an update. Well, that's what I got done yesterday. And it's this Saturday morning, June 4th. And I thought I was going to be able to get this all done before the rain came, but it's only about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and the rain is coming. It's already raining. So I was hoping to get this guy out and fill my hole back up. I had three or four attempts yesterday trying to get this guy out of the hole. I tried different positions and moved the chain around and moved the tractor around and never did get it out. So I was hoping to do that now, but looks like rain. So I don't know, it's supposed to rain for 3 or 4 days. I'm gonna maybe give it a real quick try, and then we'll see what we have. Well, I sharpened a chain and cut the end off of that and got it up. So there's my hole. I was hoping to get it filled in, but like I said earlier, the rain came, and it's raining as we speak here. So it looks like it's going to be a few days before this guy gets filled back in. That's a big hole. Anyway, we'll come back later and explain more to you. Well, this is it. This is the tree in a different format. It used to be one piece, more or less, and we reduced it to this little pile. So I'm going to show you the hole, and we're going to get into some safety things about that chainsaw. To give you some perspective on just how big a hole this had, on how big a hole this is, I wanted to get down here in it. It's been raining about every day, so it's still muddy, but it's a pretty good sized crater. And remind you that most of it was hand dug. On the top, I used the tractor and I got the top stuff off and kind of spread it out like that. But once I got beyond the depth that the bucket could get to, and I start getting into root, then it was a pickaxe and a shovel. So I'm hoping, I don't know if you can see me. I surely can't see the camera. So I'm believing that, other than it looks kind of crooked, you get the idea of the size of this hole. That's really all I wanted to do here. Here's another angle with what's left of that tree. It sure is a big old root, big old stump. Won't take much to split that. There's just not that much wood there. All right, on to some safety things. One of the things I failed to mention earlier was with this snapper. I guess I don't really have to worry about it because this model has been discontinued, but I didn't know it. It was discontinued when I bought it, or in the process of. Anyway, most chainsaws have this guard. It's an active guard, and if you were to fall, you would try to get your weight on there, and that's a brake, and that would stop that chain from moving just like that. That Greenworks that I told you I had has got an active brake. This is maybe a guard for your hand, but it is not active. It's just a piece of plastic. It does not function. My guess is that's why OSHA shut. I'm guessing, okay, that's why they discontinued, because OSHA got involved. Anyway, I've had this thing apart, and there is no mechanism for that to stop the chain. Now, this chainsaw, any chainsaw, I told you to stay on balance, make sure your work area is clean. Safety, right? Safety. I mean, instead of stretching, take a step. Take your fingers off the trigger, take a step, take your time. Make sure you are safe. Make sure your surroundings are clear and no one around you. If you go to falling, there's a natural tendency to take your hand off to try to stop you, to break your fall. Well, that's not good, because this thing, if you're falling, this thing, you've got your finger on the trigger, and you're in a world of problems. You've got a spinning chainsaw going all over the place, and hands and feet and legs and arms and face. So always keep both hands on your saw. When you're moving, take your hand off the trigger area, or you could even grip it down here if you like, and then move your saw. But when you, and until you're ready to cut, then and only then do you put your finger on as a safety, and then your trigger. Probably can't see that, but safety, and then upside down trigger, and you have to engage both in order for that saw. But it's important that you're ready to do that before you go sawing. So you set, get in position, grip, and then have at it. There's one other thing that I wanted to show you about saws, and it has this little gripper. There's gripper teeth, and I don't know if you can see the gripper teeth, but if you wedge that in to your piece of wood, and you can't see it because we're covered, but if I grip that little gripper into my wood, and now I can sort of rock this slowly and let this saw blade do the work. Remember, you're not doing the work, the saw blade's doing the work. Reminds me of something I heard about 45 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. I think the guy's name is Sven. Sven bought a new chainsaw, and it was guaranteed to get 7 cords a day. So first day he got 3 cords. Next day he got 3.5 cords. Worked his tail off. He got 4 cords the next day. Finally he called the shop he got it from. He says, "Hey, you said I could get 7 cords a day with this saw." He says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, bring it in." He says, "I'm only getting 3, 4. He says, "Yeah, bring it in." So Sven brings the chainsaw into the store. It was gas operated, so I had to pull chain. So he pulled the chain, the thing went, "Argh!" And Sven jumped back and says, "What is that?" But that was a little humor. Okay, if your name's Sven, I apologize. You can call it Hey You. Yeah, Hey You. The guy's name was Hey You. There you go. I don't want to get in trouble here. Anyway, 45 years ago, it was funny the first time I heard it. If it's not funny, no, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's my attempt at humor. The other thing is, if you go to falling, instead of taking your hands off, if you have to take your hands off, let's put it that way, to break your fall, you're going downhill, you set yourself up wrong to begin with, do one thing. Get rid of that saw. Just throw it. As long as there's nobody around, right? Away from you. As a last resort, I'd say throw your saw. I've never had to do that. Maybe once. You lose balance, and rather than have that running chainsaw coming down at you, what do? Throw it away, right? It's disposable. That's not. Keep that in mind. So the way I did this with this tree, just to put things in perspective, this is my, I think, 23rd tree from this little area here. I did it a little differently. And generally I make the V cut, and I'll throw some old footage in there that shows you some of the old trees that I cut down. But this one I didn't cut down. If you noticed, I pulled it down, only pulled it down. So I dug out all the roots. I knew it wasn't going anywhere because 3 weeks ago we had 80-mile-an-hour wind and that thing didn't budge. So I knew there was something underneath it, even though I had dug out 3 foot deep around it, just solid. So you saw the chain. It took a few pulls, but there was one major root underneath it. And I knew that because the last area that I was digging out had shale. And I knew there wasn't any roots going to be growing in that shale, so I dug down about a foot and I realized nothing's going to be growing here, so it has to be that one root, and it was. So I knew I was safe from, because in the beginning, you know, I was cutting one small at a time and looking and making sure that everything was still solid, and it was. But I just wanted to do it different. That's the only reason. It's not recommended. I recommend the first thing you do is you fell your tree in a normal way with your, with your V-cut, and then make a hinge, and I'll show you that either in this video, maybe another video. You make your hinge and you fell your tree. And I got to be pretty accurate when doing that. I could get with it. I'd put a stake in the ground and where I wanted it to land, and I think the closest I got was about a foot when that tree went down. It was about a foot. I wanted to drive the stake in the ground, but I didn't get that done. But I got close. So for a novice, yeah, pretty decent. Never got hurt. Got everything taken care of, and so I wanted to throw that out there for safety, because that's the main thing. I did this whole tree with my tractor, this chainsaw, this sharpshooter drain spade is what it's called, and that pickaxe. And this was my father's. So I'm guessing this is 65, 70 years old, and it's worked on 23 trees with me, helped build my parents' house, and number 14, good old number 14, and I've been pretty abusive to it. Left it out for a number of years, and still going strong. And I have some very nice brand new yellow handled drain spades that I am going to do a review on someday, but just wanted to use Dad's old shovel. So that's pretty much it. I'm probably just going to throw some of this stuff in a shredder and chipper, and then split some of these guys, but I'm not going to show you that on this particular tree. I already have a shot video where I've done that, so you can see how that's done. Not too impressive. It's just sticking limbs in a machine, and the other is splitting. And anyway, that's the tree. That's it. All I have to do now is fill that hole and go on with about 1,000 other projects. Ready to chip. I'd shot a video earlier about how to start these guys, but didn't have sound, so we'll try it again. First thing you need to do is turn the gas on, and I always turn the gas off. In fact, I'll start at the end. When I'm ready to shut down the chipper, I shut the valve off for the gas and let it run, and that drains the carburetor and makes the seals last longer. So it's a good tip. The guy I got this chipper from told me that's what he did, and works out pretty good. Next thing you do is put the choke on, and then this one here has an on-off switch. My hand was in the way. On-off switch, and then you just fire it up, pull the cord. Now these, I believe they're sold by Harbor Freight, the Predator, engine. You know, they put their name on it anyway. I don't know who makes it really. But it has a flywheel. And you have to turn the whole flywheel, which takes a lot of energy. But the good part about that is that inertia creates, well, helps you start it. So, the fighter jet. All right. Some of them have a belt, which the engines start a lot faster because you release the stress and the load on the engine. It just fires, and then you pull a valve, and that takes the pulleys apart with the belt and engages the drive, and everything starts churning that way. But I like that, but they say that it goes through belts. So easier to start, but you have a belt. We don't have a belt on this. This is direct drive. All right, so here we go. Not bad, second pull, huh? Okay, I'm going to move the camera so we don't get all kinds of dust in the camera. I don't know if you can hear me, but you definitely need eye protection because every once in a while something comes popping up at you, and that's not good. I've actually got pieces of flying debris inside my goggles, so I'm glad I had them on. Well, this one can do up to 3 inches here and a ½ inch here. Bucked it, split it, and made mulch out of the limbs. Now we've got to move it over into the pile where we can have it ready for this winter. We'll burn all this in the winter, and it'll provide heat. So while I'd rather not have the tree to have died, it did die, and there wasn't anything I could do about that. I can take advantage of the wood that I got out of it. It was a pretty big tree, so there's a lot of wood. Real soft. I don't know what kind of tree it was. It's been dead for quite a while. I guess a real arborist could have looked at the bark and told me what kind of wood it was, or what kind of tree it was. But not important. I just know that it's dead, it's cut down, and it's in little bitty pieces now. I've got these 28-foot long aluminum scaffolding planks that we used when we built the house. Well, I believe I'm going to take them both out. At the same time. All right, let's have at it. Got to get a good footing. This is kind of muddy. It wants to take me down with it. But all right. Well, I'm going to move the camera so you can get the full impact. I'm not sure the sound is going to pick up when I get that far away, but I'll just go there and make the back cut and they'll come down. That one got hung up. Here goes number 3. Might be a little deep, but it'll be all right. Another one down.